Well, President Biden this week tapped the U.S. oil reserves to try to bring down the cost of energy, particularly gas at the pump. What was interesting to a lot of people was, A, it doesn't happen very often, and B, there was some coordination with some other countries out there suggesting that this could have a little bit more bite. But it kind of goes to the whole issue of managing energy, transitioning to renewable energy. How is that going to play out in a global economy? Let's check in with Nick Blitterswyk, Chief Executive Officer and founder of UGE International. UGE distributes renewables to address the world's energy and environmental challenges. Nick, thanks so much for joining us here. Where are we, I guess, in this transition to renewables? It seems like we kind of had a little bit of a hiccup here because, boy, we still need the fossil fuels. How's this playing out?
Yeah, good morning. Well, I think, globally, the U.S. now is number 2 to China in terms of solar that's being deployed. I think a stat that a lot of people wouldn't fully appreciate is that the last couple of years, U.S. About 42% of all new energy being installed is solar. So solar's coming quick. It's not going to get to 100% right away, but it definitely is coming quick here.
We saw at COP26 that there's still big divisions between countries in terms of meeting targets. For instance, we saw with India and China, and also, there was no agreement on carbon permits. So what more do you think needs to be done so that everybody is more aligned?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's funny you mentioned China and India, which are number 1 and number 3 in terms of amount of solar being installed these days. So, I think politically, for whatever reason, the world's at a point where it's having a difficult time coming together on some of these big picture policies. But, I think on the ground, what we're seeing is solar. It's projected to be 80% of all new energy by the end of this decade. And so I'm hopeful as people start to realize that this decade really does belong to renewable energy, becoming the main source of energy. Hopefully people will start to realize that it doesn't need to be as hard as some people maybe think, and hopefully we can get together and set those priorities.
Is the U.S. the leader in transitioning to renewables or not?
Or not. Well, of course, the U.S. has always had a great technology advantage and an entrepreneurship advantage, I would say. And so on that basis, you do see a lot of innovation from American companies. And I like to think of UGE as being right within that, right? And so, U.S. leads the world, I would say, in a number of aspects within solar. I will say, though, that China is installing about 3 times as much solar as the U.S. right now. So we do have a long way to go.
And in that transition period that we're talking about towards renewable energies, there's also that question of affordability for the likes of solar, for the likes of wind, and how we get around that given those cost issues.
Well, you say cost issues. I would take offense to that, to be honest. At this point in time, solar has become the cheapest source of energy in more and more places. I think the use cases are increasing quite quickly here. So, a number of years back now, residential solar became cost effective to a number of people, but not everyone can install solar on their rooftop. And so where we come in is we develop community solar projects, and in essence, making it as easy for anyone to get solar energy, just like signing up for Netflix. And so what we do is we install projects and then distribute that energy to subscribers within a community, which typically tends to be a utility zone. And our model has been for years providing cheaper energy to people that we sign up. Bloomberg, we actually have a partnership with Bloomberg that we announced back in the summer, where Bloomberg employees can sign up and save 10% on their energy bill as well. So, solar is, of course, where we're focused, and the cost here has come down so much over the last decade that it is cost effective for many, many people around the world now.
Nick, we've had a lot of fiscal stimulus. We've got the Build Back Better legislation coming through Congress here. Give us a sense of kind of where the U.S. government is in terms of supporting this transition to renewable energy.
Yeah, well, I would say that right now the benefits of the Biden administration winning for our sector are finally kind of coming to fruition here. So, of course, we had the bipartisan infrastructure bill signed into law last week. That includes about $73 billion for upgrades to the electric grid, which will have some knock-on benefits to renewable energy. But the Build Back Better Act really is what focuses on the movement towards renewable energy. So, for solar, it provides a 10-year extension of the investment tax credit, something that was initially put in place by President Bush. But it's something that would give us a long-term certainty, and there are some other benefits there as well. And I think we've also seen a nice switch in terms of the U.S. government's approach to trade. We've, in the industry, called it the solar coaster here for a number of years because it's been a bit of a target, I think, from different governments in the U.S. and elsewhere. But just in the last 2 weeks, we've had 3 different trade things go through that have made it probably cheaper for us to import solar panels in the next year and years to come here as well.
All right, Nick, very exciting, very interesting. Nick Blitterswyk, Chief Executive Officer and founder of UGE International. That is a publicly traded company. UGE is the symbol, trades in Canada. It's got a market cap of about $60 million. So very interesting there as they manage and distribute renewable energy across communities. And again, it is a trend that the folks of Nick Blitterswyk believe will be a long-term trend.